Hello everyone, my name is Ariana Traub, and today I'm going to be talking to you about an environmental disaster that happened in Times Beach, Missouri. I'm going to be going over a variety of figures and tables to explain what happened in this disaster. Times Beach was one of the first dioxin disasters and became a leader for other countries and states for how to handle the lethal toxin. Presented here is the overall timeline for Times Beach, Missouri, and the disaster that ensued. Beginning in the early 1970s, the roads were being sprayed with dioxin for dust control back before we knew the health effects from dioxin. For the next decade, many horses and children began falling ill. The CDC investigated, and eventually the EPA got involved in 1979. By the time the EPA discovered the use of dioxin in 1982, a major flood made most of the town evacuate Times Beach. In 1983, the EPA confirmed the high dioxin levels and added the city to the NPL Superfund list. By 1985, there was a mandatory evacuation, and in 1986, the EPA provided the town $30 million to relocate all residents. During the next decade, they spent time cleaning up the site, and in 1997, they built an incinerator to incinerate 37,234 tons of dioxin. By 1998, the site was restored as a state park, and in 2001, the site was removed from the Superfund. In 2006, the site became ready for reuse and development. Lastly, they did a checkup in 2012 to assess the cancer risk and found no additional cancer risk in Times Beach. This list represents the major birth defects that have been associated with dioxin. As of now, there is no up-to-date data on the quantity of individuals exposed to dioxin who later had children with these birth defects. As indicated by the arrows, there are 5 places in the world where entire towns have been destroyed because of dioxin exposure. These include Alicia, Oregon, Times Beach, Missouri, Nitro, West Virginia, Seveso, Italy, and Vietnam. The people in these locations were forced to evacuate, and the areas had to be cleaned up before they could be inhabited again. Many of these locations resulted in serious health effects due to the dioxin exposure. Figure 3 represents the total soil dioxin concentration in ppb in each state in 2009. As you can see, there is a large discrepancy between states and their varying dioxin levels. Most notably, Alaska and Texas have the highest levels of dioxin in the soil. As you can see, Missouri has a rather low concentration of dioxin compared to these other states, indicating their ability to clean up after the Times Beach disaster. Figure 4 represents the total dioxin released to air, land, and water in the U.S. over time. As you can see, the levels released to air have been decreased drastically since 1988. This may be due to the increase in regulations and the increased knowledge about the negative effects of dioxin. Furthermore, as can be seen in the figure, the dioxin released to land and water has not changed drastically since 1988, but these levels have also remained fairly low and constant. Overall, Times Beach disaster was handled well after the dioxin was located. They deemed dioxin a lethal toxin, and Times Beach set an example for the world on how to handle this deadly toxin. This disaster also led to better regulation in the United States, which led to a decrease in dioxin levels in all states. Here you can see the references I used. Thank you very much.